Is it true that calcium is found in all green leafy plant foods?
Absolutely. And the silliest, most ridiculous belief that you find in Western countries is the idea that somehow you can only get calcium from milk or from cow's milk in particular. Actually, when you look at nature, nature does not build adult skeletons with calcium. When you look at the period of time that infant mammals nurse, they're very short periods. Most of the calcium that goes into the skeleton of any mammal comes from the food they eat, not from their mother's milk. And if you were to take a 6-foot man, take all of the muscle, organs, skin off his skeleton, and just weigh his skeleton, the bones alone would weigh about 25 pounds. And it takes that man 18 to 20 years to actually grow that skeleton. Now, you take a bull moose, and you've seen the rack of antlers on a bull moose. That bull moose grows those antlers in a 3-month period. They're made out of solid bone, and when they're fully formed, they weigh 80 to 85 pounds, and it does it eating nothing but green plants. There's plenty of calcium in green plants. It is, in fact, it is one of the worst ways to try and get calcium for skeletal growth is from milk. That is not the way nature does it. It's not the way we should do it.
Why is cow's milk high in calcium if cows don't drink milk? Where do cows get their calcium from?
From the grass the cow is eating.
What are the health benefits of having a lot of fiber in our diet? What's the best source of fiber and what's the worst source of fiber?
Sure. The benefits of having a high fiber diet are really too numerous to list in one place. I mean, we can talk about some of them, but they are just myriad. And we can't even list them all because we don't know them all. But one thing we know, for instance, is that when you habitually eat a high fiber diet, you select for a bacterial population in your colon that becomes very good at breaking down that fiber into these bioactive compounds called short chain fatty acids. And there are 3 principal short chain fatty acids. The first is a 4-carbon short chain fatty acid called butyrate. Butyrate is critically important because the cells that make up the lining of the colon actually prefer to use butyrate as their energy source. They don't like extracting energy from the bloodstream. They prefer to get it from the lumen of the colon, from the breakdown product of fiber fermentation. But what that means is that if you don't have enough fiber in your diet, then you don't have enough butyrate, and as a result, the cells in the colon become weakened, they don't maintain their tight junctions, and literally you start to get leakage of the contents of the colon down between the colonic cells into the bloodstream, and that is leaky gut syndrome, and that leads to inflammation, can exacerbate or even engender autoimmune problems, and a host of other pro-inflammatory diseases and issues. The next short-chain fatty acid is a 3-carbon short-chain fatty acid called propionate. Propionate is an incredible compound because propionate does some amazing things that we actually use medicines for. So propionate inhibits an enzyme called HMA-CoA reductase. Now that sounds very bizarre and weird to most people, but it should be an enzyme everybody knows because the most lucrative drug category ever created by humans are statins, the drugs designed to bring down cholesterol and help lower the risk for heart disease. Statin drugs, the target enzyme for statin drugs, is HMA-CoA reductase. Well, if you're eating a high-fiber diet, you will actually create in your colon a compound that will inhibit that enzyme better than a drug can without the side effects. But it doesn't just stop there. Propionate also stops the liver from manufacturing glucose, which is the same way the diabetic medicine metformin or glucophage works. So here again, by eating a high-fiber diet, you will create compounds in your colon that will do for you what medications do without the side effects. And there's even some evidence that the propionate can also help decrease triglyceride levels, which we use drugs like Lopid and other medications for. And then the third short-chain fatty acid is a 2-carbon short-chain fatty acid called acetate, which our muscle cells can use instead of glucose, which means that our stores of glucose will therefore last longer, which means that we don't get hungry as often, which means we don't eat as much, and helps us maintain a healthier body weight. So, and those are just some of the ways that fiber helps. We also know that there are compounds in fiber like lignans and other compounds which are acted on by the bacteria in the microbiome to make them potent anti-cancer compounds. And they get absorbed and actually help turn on genes that suppress cancer, turn off genes that will promote cancer. And the point is that when people tend to think of fiber, they tend to think of bran cereal or something like Metamucil. Fiber really is all of the undigestible or unabsorbable parts of plants that we eat. So there's water-soluble fiber as well as water-insoluble fibers, and it takes all of those various kinds of fiber to give you the best overall fermentation products in the colon. And that can only come from eating whole plants. You can't get it from artificial products. You have to eat the whole plant. And the greater the variety you eat, the better the fermentation process is in the colon, and the healthier your colon is, and the healthier you'll be.